And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. This is a directed network, and I am net control. If at any time during this net, should an emergency arise, please notify net control, and we will stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any priority or emergency traffic at this time? And hearing nothing, we will continue. This net is all about ham radio. If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We're recording now live till 5, and then we'll post it up on YouTube so you can come by later and do a call letter search for KC9VKV. That's Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, where we're now featuring about 1,190 QSO-VLOG air checks. Also this afternoon, we're running 4 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring Rochester, New York, Milford, Pennsylvania, Atlanta, Georgia, and Arlington, Virginia, trying to get a better copy on our 100-watt friends. Now, the audio from these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also on this selector is our local receiver audio. And today, our local receiver is running 2 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed north and south, the other east and west. The north and south mag loop can be rotated. They are selected by a 3-position rotary selector. Position 3 of this selector is a co-phase option that many times is 3 to 4 dB hotter than mag loop 1 or 2 by themselves. We do use a lot of rotary selectors in our shack, mainly because there's nothing faster than a rotary switch for comparing multiple signals. Also today, we'll be running our input source indicator. So when we switch from an Internet SDR receiver to our local receiver, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube QSO-VLOG video. Well, those are our working conditions. How about yours? This is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. And now let's check in and see if Charlie, K1GZL, is on frequency to bring us up to date on the latest 40-meter band propagation. Charlie's QTH is up in northern New Hampshire, near the Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy?
Yes, Jim, I have a good copy. A lot of Queen Roger Nancy. Jim, I have Queen Roger Nancy static, but I've got a couple interesting things for you if you have a good copy there. Go ahead, Jim, K1GZL.
Yes, sir. I have a pretty good copy of my local antenna, but a much better copy on Milford. Looks like about a 12 over. Roger, Roger.
A 12 over. Roger, Roger.
Okay, Roger on that. It's overcast and just about 80 degrees. We did get up to 84 earlier, but it's cloudy now. By the way, I did have a very interesting QSO yesterday with Captain Mike as he was heading from Sacramento, California to Philadelphia, and worked him at a number of places crossing the country at 37,000 feet. Ground speed was a good tailwind. Ground speed of 600 miles per hour, and I've got him right here. I think we can put him on. Here he is.
He's at that point. Okay. Before Whiskey Charlie, we're just coming up overhead Iowa City, 800 miles west of Philadelphia, flight level 370. Got a 47 knot tailwind, doing about 550 knots across the ground. Temperature here is minus 49 degrees Celsius. K1GZL from Kilo X-ray 4 Whiskey Charlie.
Okay, how'd that one come through, Jim? Go ahead.
Oh, Charlie, most excellent, most excellent. That's probably one of the better copies. Now, what I was wondering is, let's see how to put this. If one time, I think you said he had a 600-mile-an-hour tailwind. Now, let's see. What if he had a headwind of 600 miles an hour and he was doing 600 miles an hour? Would that mean that he's standing still?
No. Actually, he had I think it was a tailwind of 70 miles per hour, a tailwind pushing him along, coming from west to east, and he's going out today, going westward, and then I think he's off for about 2 weeks. By the way, about this COVID-18, I had a test on Wednesday, and I turned out negative. It was one of those nose swab things. I turned out negative. By the way, I asked about that. I did talk on 40 meters this morning, right here on 40, down on 7150 with BK3MO, and I asked him about the COVID down there, and he says Melbourne, which is a very large city in eastern Australia, and he's northwest of that about 55 miles. They're on lockdown. They are on lockdown, and that's for about a month or so. And here is Ian in Australia this morning on the 10th of I'm all mixed up here. On the 10th of July, 2020. Here he is.
Charlie, in the state of Victoria, it's VK3. There's been a real surge, and Melbourne's in lockdown. Where we are outside Melbourne, we're okay, but we are in a lockdown. Anyway, that's for about a month, so yeah, not good. Okay, 73 all out, 6 kilos, 3 Mike Oscar now, QRT.
Okay, there we are. I hope that came through all right, Jim. Go ahead.
Yes, sir, Charlie. Yes, sir. Now, about is it Captain Mike there in the aircraft? Didn't you say one time that he did have a 600-mile-an-hour tailwind?
600-mile-an-hour tailwind?
Oh, no, never a 600-mile-per-hour tailwind. That would be incredible. That would be incredible. But they can get a tailwind up to over 100 miles per hour at times, but not 600. Not 600, Jim. Boy, that would zip him across the country like a rubber band. Bing, bang, there. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Well, I just I copied the mail erroneously. I'm sorry, but I could have sworn that. I was just thinking, man, that's pretty fast situation. that's going like a pardon the phrase, but a bat out of the hill or through the sky anyway. But praise to Captain Mike. He weathers all those situations, except he hasn't had one with a 600-mile-an-hour tailwind. All right, Charlie, what else you got up that way? How's the weather? What's the temp?
Temperature right now is just at 80 degrees, 80 degrees. It is cloudy, and we do have a bit of a tropical storm that's going to pass from south to north tomorrow on the 11th on Saturday. Most of that will go over to my western Vermont and northeastern New York, over through the Adirondacks. We're going to be near the eastern edge, but we could get over an inch of rain. Everything is lush green, and yesterday we had a high temperature of 87 degrees. The normal high is 72. This has been a very, very warm late spring and summer, about as warm as I have ever seen up here. And the consistency amount in which it's lasting, my gosh. However, it's okay. Down in Concord yesterday, they were 92, and it was in the 90s in a lot of places. So, Jim, I won't hold it any longer, and I hope to be on tomorrow not tomorrow, next week on Friday at the same time, and I certainly hope that you get a lot of people that want to try out new rigs and see how everything is working. It's always a pleasure, of course, and you do an excellent job, although the static level is way above normal. By the way, the bugs are not so bad now. The bug situation is pretty well past. It is pretty well past. We get a few mosquitoes, but nothing like it was 2 weeks ago when it was a little hard to go outside. So, Jim, I'll turn it back to you, and I want to thank you very much for picking me up. KC9VKV, K1GZ, and an L.
Roger, Roger, Charlie. 3 is that way. Stay cool up there, and we'll join you next Friday, and we'll do it again. Thanks for checking in. This is KC9VKV. My name is Jim, better known in some circles as Dr. VKV. And we are recording on the QSO-VLOG net live till 5. So if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We'll post this recording up on YouTube in the next couple of days. So when you go to YouTube, just do a call letter search for KC9VKV. That's Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. And that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. And on that page, you'll be looking for one QSO-VLOG entitled My Group Aircheck 71020. My Group Aircheck 71020, which is today's date. This is KC9VKV listening.
VKV listening. Quebec, Zulu Romeo.
Zulu Romeo station, come back with your call sign slowly, phonetically, please.
Slowly, phonetically, please. November 2, Quebec, Zulu Romeo.
Roger, Roger. And what's the name there, please, sir?
Roger, Roger. What's the name there, please, sir? My name's Franco. Although my wife is Francisco. I'm running the ICOM. My antenna is just a simple dipole, not too high off the ground.
Roger, gosh, I'm having to copy you on the Milford PASDR, and Milford is going through, sounds like a lightning storm at the moment. It's pretty staticky. Your signal is getting hit by a lot of impulse stuff, chopped up pretty bad. Come back with the name one more time, please, sir.
Back with the name one more time, please, sir. Frank, Romeo, Alpha, November, Charlie, Oscar.
Roger, Roger. And what's the location there?
I'm in Buffalo, New York.
Okay, tell you what, let me try my local antenna. I've got two 10-foot vertical magnetic loop dishes, and let me try those. I've been around the SDRs, and not a good situation there, so I want to take a shot on my mag loops. If you would give me about 10 seconds on your antenna system, tell me about your antenna system in 10 seconds or so. I'll try to bring up my mag loops and see what we can do there. Roger, Roger.
See what we can do there. Roger, Roger. Roger that.
Still, Milford is probably the best shot. But anyway, what radio are you running this afternoon?
This afternoon. Come back.
I'm sorry. What radio are you running this afternoon?
I'm using ICOM 7610.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 7610. Roger. That's one of my loved radios. The 7300 and 7610 are like brothers and big brother and little sister. Roger, Roger.
And little sister. Roger, Roger. Roger that. The wife gave me a choice. I could either get a radio or get a motorcycle. So I opted out for the radio.
Oh, you made a much better decision. That is the correct decision, I must say so. Gosh, we recommend the tune-up on that just as a procedure is the compressor at a 3, compressor setting at a 3, moving to your ALC, and ALC setting is mid-scale to 2/3 by way of your mic gain control. Roger?
Your mic gain control. Roger? Roger that. I guess my ALC is just a tad high. Let me adjust it.
get the radio working right. I think that should be a little bit better.
Roger, yeah, what we're looking for is about a 3 dB dynamic range. Now, you do have a control, trying to think what that is. You have a button called quick.
Roger.
And that will take you to drive.
Roger that.
And now what is the reading on drive?
I'm about 50%.
Roger. Try moving that up to 60%. Try moving that up to about 60%, and let me hear you.
60%, and let me hear you. Yeah, you figured it out there, Jim.
Roger. Move your drive to 60%. Move your drive to 60%. Roger.
That's a Roger. Percent, Roger.
But Frank, you still got a copy?
Yeah, right here in Buffalo right now we're hitting 91 degrees and it's partly cloudy and a great way to start the weekend.
Roger that. Roger that. Now you have your drive sitting on 60. Is that a Roger?
And on 60, is that a Roger? Yeah, my static here is quite strong. I don't know if it's coming from my solar panels on the house or it's just background noise here.
Roger, do you copy me?
Roger, do you copy me? Yeah, I copy you fine now.
Alrighty, move your drive to 60. Move your drive to 60%. Let me hear you.
60%. Let me hear you. I copy you 5-9.
Roger, did you copy moving your drive to 60%?
Roger.
And then let me hear you.
Repeat, please.
Roger, have you moved to 60% on your drive now?
60% on your drive now.
Hang on just a second, Frank. Let me check something here. Audio check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's well, gosh, there's a KW for you. Must be one of those really bad days.
Really bad days. Hi on that. I understand. I've been trying for about 4 weeks or so to get in touch with you since I accidentally stumbled across your other QSOs.
Roger, Frank. Well, yes, you know, sometimes 40 is just cantankerous. Mother Nature loves to exhibit her domination on 40 meters, particularly, Roger.
Particularly, Roger. Roger. Yeah, but I think also placement of my antenna is not perfect yet. It's going to take me a few weeks to get it up high enough, or I just have to go out and buy another antenna.
Roger, probably the most critical thing is the orientation. What you want to do to contact this way would be to run your antenna east and west, and that will make you rotate or radiate more north and south. Roger?
North and south, Roger. Roger. Well, I'll sign off for now and listen in the rest of the evening, or until 5 o'clock before you turn into a punk. So this is November 2, Quebec, Zulu Romeo.
Roger, Frank. Well, gosh, did you ever get your drive up to 60%? That was the question. I wanted you to try your drive up at 60%. Let me hear you.
Let me hear you. Okay, yes, it's at 60% right now.
Good. It looks good. Just wanted you to be just a tad fatter, and that does it. That's the thing about the 7610 that I love is the drive control. I have experimented with that, through other folks' radios, obviously. But one afternoon we did do a really extensive test on that drive and took it up to 100%, and the dynamic range at 100% drive was somewhere around between 1.5 dB of dynamic range. Just unbelievable. It's not anything that you would want to run that way, but it's just amazing how fat that signal was, and you could still understand it at 0.5 dB of dynamic range. But I do recommend 60 after the setup, 60%, and that just makes you just absolutely perfect on the 7610. Roger.
On the 7610, Roger. Roger that. I appreciate the help, and I hope to learn more.
Roger, Frank. All right, so 3's up that way, so you have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend coming up. Thanks for checking in. If you get a chance to join us next Friday, and just remember that we'll be uploading this recording in the next couple of days. So if you go to YouTube and do that call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO page. We're running about 1,190 recorded QSOs at the moment, but you'll be looking for one specifically entitled My Group Aircheck 71020. My Group Aircheck 71020. 3's Frank. You catch you later. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
November 8, Zulu Lima, N8ZL.
November 8 station, come back with a call sign slowly, phonetically, please.
Call sign slowly, phonetically, please. And the call is November 8, Zulu Lima, N8ZL. And my name is Larry, and we're located in West Virginia.
Roger, Larry. Sounded really good. To what radio are you running, sir?
Well, you probably get a whole bunch of these on your net. It's a TS520S, and the amplifier is a 1970 vintage Henry running about 800 or 900 watts.
Oh, roger that. And Larry, we could get you just a little bit fatter if you might be interested.
Sure, if you might be interested. Well, there isn't any adjustments on this.
Oh, you don't have an ALC meter?
I do, but that is about the only thing I've got.
Roger, you have no processor?
I do.
Now see how much we found out that you do have on that radio. Our tune-up is a very generic tune-up. It starts with the processor being brought online at a 3. A processor online at a token amount, a 3, but it does just exactly what it's supposed to do, Roger. Gosh, Larry, you kind of slipped down there just a little bit. Do you still copy me? I'm listening on Milford, PA, listening for Larry. Do you copy me?
Oh, sure do. You copy. I copy you 5 by 9, and the processor is on, and it's about a 3.
All right, to check it again, it sounds like it might be, what we're looking for is about a third of its capability, very limited amount, and I should not hear it working at a 3. Check to be sure that you are at a 3. Do you have numbers like 1 to 10?
I do. I've got, hold on a minute. I was looking at it. It's okay. Yeah.
Larry, I think you have a dirty pot. I think you have a dirty pot there. You did, we're kind of scratchy. Roger.
Let me look on. Okay. Right there is just a little bit more than a 3.
Okay. Did you copy the scratchy pot situation there?
I did.
Okay, just wanted you to know that because when there were severe dropouts when that occurred. Okay, so you have your compressor at a 3, and then move to your ALC, and you have a mic gain control. And with that mic gain control, and you speaking just very naturally into the microphone at your normal distance, adjust the ALC to where it's running mid-scale to 2/3 by way of your mic gain control.
Okay, give that a try. I've got the mic gain down to well within the ALC.
Roger. Now we're looking specifically for a reading on that ALC of a mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 on the ALC specifically, Roger.
Okay, it is mid-scale to 2/3 right now.
Excellent, and it looks like about 3 dB is exactly where it should be. So, gosh, your EQ sounds pretty good. But you probably, now that's one thing that you probably don't have on that radio is EQ, Roger.
Oh no, this is a hybrid 1979 vintage.
Exactly, but I'll tell you what, sir, it has just enough stuff to get that signal exactly perfect, Roger.
Okay, well, Jim, thanks an awful lot. Been listening to you guys for a while. Real quick, tell me about your magnetic loop. What the diameter is, and what the diameter of the loop material is.
Okay, it is a 10-foot diameter. There's 2 of them. They're twin loops. One is oriented east and north and south, the other east and west. 10-foot diameter, and the loop is a fifth the size of the 10-foot mag loop, and I used RG8. And the circuit is RG8 in the loop, and then comes back down, and the center conductor goes to the shield at the 1/5 loop mark. Roger?
Okay, all right. I'm familiar with the loop that you're using. I was just kind of curious. And Jim, we'll let you run. Thanks an awful lot for helping me get this set up. I've had this radio for about 30 years, and I really never had anybody help set it up like this. So, Jim, my pleasure. Thanks an awful lot. This is N8ZL.
Roger. Now, on your loop, I do have a little speciality that I do on that loop, and that, ideally theoretically, you just make the top of the loop touch the load coil. Or the load loop. But what I do is I make more contact there by, just a couple of inches on either side. I kind of use like a tie wrap to pull that couple loop up a little bit closer, closer to the main loop. So it is just a little more coupling to the main loop. Roger?
Okay, do you have any pictures of it?
I do. If you will check on, let's see, go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. And on that page is somewhere is our we have video on the 2 vertical mag loops. You could do it that way, or use my call sign and do vertical mag loops. Try that too. But anyway, there is about an 8-minute video on the twins. Roger. And I just lost my Milford PA SDR. So did you copy that last? This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. Larry, I did lose you right there at the end. I lost my Milford, PA SDR. I guess it was 20 minutes of inattention. You know what, like when I go to that SDR, I don't do anything but copy the mail, and they don't recognize that as an activity, and they say, here are 20 minutes in here with inactivity, and they dump me off. And then, so I got my way back. But anyway, Larry, do you still have a copy?
Way back. But anyway, Larry, do you still have a copy? I do. And Jim, I'll say 7-3. Thanks an awful lot for the help, and we'll catch you later. 7-3 from November 8th, Zulu Lima.
Roger, Roger, Larry 3 is beautiful signal. Like, if you get a chance, hear yourself on YouTube, go to our QSO-VLOG net. Just go to YouTube and do a call later search, KC9VKV, and that will take you there. And you'll be looking for my group Aircheck 71020. My group Aircheck 71020, today's date. 3 is that way, Larry. And also, if you get a chance, join us next Friday. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
QSO-VLOG net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo 4, Yankee Fox Radio.
Fox radio station, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign, please.
Radio station, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign, please.
Yeah, Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. This is Kilo 4, Yankee Foxtrot Radio. Over.
Roger, Roger. I started copying my own call sign. I said, where are you? Well, what's the name there, sir?
My own call sign. I said, where are you? What's the name there, sir?
Name is Ed. I'm in Virginia Beach, and you're 5'9", over.
Roger, Ed, I'm copying you on the Milford, PA SDR. It looks to be about an 8 over. What radio are you running today, sir?
It looks to be about an 8 over. What radio are you running today, sir?
I'm using an old 50 I've had for many, many years. I'm also using a Tentec Centurion amplifier at about 1 kW, and the antenna is a half square. Over.
All right, now tell me a little bit about what a half square is.
All right, now tell me a little bit about what a half square is.
Okay, a half square is 2 quarter wave verticals that are separated by a half wavelength. Mine are oriented to be broadside east and west, and it is a half square because they're fed at the top. The 2 quarter wave verticals are off the ground by about 6 feet at the bottom, and at the top there's a wire that connects the 2 verticals together, and I'm feeding at one corner. The match is a perfect 50 ohms with a 1-to-1 SWR. I hope that explains it, Jim. Over.
Roger. Now, what is your direction of radiation?
What is your direction of radiation?
East and west. The antenna runs north and south, so I have a broadside east-west pattern that's fairly tight, and the gain is about 3.8 dB.
Roger. Now, do you have a B source comparison? Do you have anything that you can A-B it with?
Comparison? Do you have anything that you can A-B it with?
Oh, I do, but it's not tuned up. Let me see what I can do about that.
All right. Just that is always the grace there about antennas is when it gets down to the A-B comparison between one antenna and the other, and how much better the one antenna is than the other. That is my downfall. Because of that, when I build a new antenna, I do not deactivate the old antenna, because you know, how do you know you're doing better if you don't have the old thing to compare it with, Roger?
Doing better if you don't have the old thing to compare it with, Roger?
Yeah, but I do. I just need to grab a hold of my
Super Tuner Plus by Dentron and tickle the SWR so that I have a perfect match. That'll take me just about a minute. So stand by, Jim. This is K4YFR.
Roger, Ed. Well, gosh, the ideal thing is to be able to not to have to use an antenna tuner. That's called a resonant antenna, and resonant antennas, to me, are just so much more efficient. Oh, gosh, it's either Pakistan or India calling. I've had my Pakistani call for today. It must be India calling. The latest, oh gosh, game, I guess. It's too bad they don't, well, anyway. It's either India or Pakistan. I fail to know, but anyway, they got no answer. So anyway, we're waiting for Ed to get his one antenna tuned up on the antenna tuner, and hopefully Ed's got an AV switch that we can actually hot switch the two antennas. Not really hot switch, we just switch them between words where we're not talking. On sideband there is no energy when you're not talking, so you can hot switch two antennas without having to power down to make the transition. Well, Ed, how are we doing there, sir?
Down to make the transition. Well, Ed, how are we doing there, sir?
Okay, we're doing good, Jim. KC9VKV, K4YFR. I'm talking to you on the half-square antenna, and I'm going to switch to the other antenna now. Okay, now I'm talking to you on a dipole inverted V up about 70 feet, fed with ladder line, and it is one half wavelength on each side. It is two half waves in phase, running north-south with a broadside pattern, the same as the half-square east and west. Over.
Roger, Ed. Okay, now what it looked like to me was that last antenna was 3 dB hotter to me than the first antenna. So what I want you to do now is to stay in that same position with antenna 2 and give me a 10 count, all right? And at between 5 and 6, I want you to switch to the number 1 antenna, and just in the cadence of the number. There is no RF there, so you don't need to power down. Just just make the switch between 5 and 6 and continue the count to 10. Roger.
Between 5 and 6 and continue the count to 10. Roger.
Roger, will do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Roger, Ed, it looked like about 2.5 dB, about 2.5 dB difference on that second antenna, the first one that you started with. We'll get the nomenclature right there. That brand X antenna that you introduced, that seems to be about 2.5 dB hotter to me than the other antenna. Roger, Roger.
2.5 dB hotter to me than the other antenna. Roger, Roger.
Roger. I'm going to switch now. I'm on the half square, and now I'm on the inverted V. So there you go. And you seem to be a bit louder on this antenna as well. It could be just band conditions. Over.
I don't know, but you are 3 dB hotter on that antenna than the other one. The antenna that you were last on is 3 dB hotter than your 4 square, half square, or whatever that was.
Than your 4 square, half square, or whatever that was.
Roger, yes, okay. Well, this antenna is horizontally polarized, and the half square is vertically polarized. So the horizontal wins, and it is 2 half waves in phase at about a height of 70 feet and fed with 115 feet of ladder line to a Dentron tuner. And that's the story, Jim. Over.
Roger. Well, it could be the fact that I'm using my my loop also. I'm sorry, my dipole also, which is horizontally polarized. So it could be the thing that we both are horizontally polarized when that antenna is its hottest. That could be the deal, Roger.
Antenna is its hottest. That could be the deal, Roger.
Yeah, I think that is probably it. Now, do you know how far it is between us? Over.
Where are you?
Where are you?
I'm in Virginia Beach.
Gosh, I would think QRZ would have that information. I would think maybe, 400 miles, 300 miles, somewhere in there?
Maybe, 100 miles, 300 miles, somewhere in there?
Yeah, you must be in Kansas or Nebraska. Where are you?
Oh, no, I'm next door to Louisville, Kentucky. I'm just across the Ohio River from Louisville, Roger.
Yeah, I'm just across the Ohio River from Louisville, Roger.
Oh, okay. So you're about 300 miles would be my guess. And yes, that would explain why the horizontal antenna is so much better. This morning early at about 7 o'clock, I worked Australia on this frequency using the vertically polarized antenna and got a very good signal report from VK1TX. So the half square is a long haul antenna, and the horizontal antenna, of course, is going to be better at this particular range. I think that's true. Over.
Roger that. And, there's nothing greater than an A-B switch. There's nothing greater than to have options. One who has options has the world in his hand, because there's nothing better than the right antenna at the right place at the right time, Roger.
Than the right antenna at the right place at the right time, Roger.
Roger that. So I've got the world in my hand. And yes, I do have a very good A-B switch. And when I switch between the two antennas, the equipment on this side of it hardly knows the difference at all. And so it works pretty good. Also, I'm in my man cave station, so I don't have access to my computer, Jim. Over.
Oh, Roger that. I was just going to make a comment about AV switches at HF frequencies. You can use almost any toggle switch in a box and a couple of connectors, to make an AV switch at these frequencies. It's not that critical. It's when you get up to VHF and UHF, particularly UHF, it's very, very switch types are very critical on the UHF and somewhat critical on VHF, but HF frequencies, you could use almost anything for that switch, so, I encourage folks to make their own AV switch boxes rather than maybe buying them, or, a lot cheaper to make, Roger.
Maybe buying them are, a lot cheaper to make, Roger.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I bought this one a long time ago. It's in a cast housing, and it has a very good contacts in it, and doesn't seem to have a great deal of loss or any concerns whatsoever. And it does work. Obviously, we're working it now. So there you go. Hey, nice to talk to you, and I really appreciate your help. And I think I'll sign with you now and not take up any more of your time, but I really do appreciate your activity on here, Jim. Thank you very much. And 73 KC9VKV K4YFR.
Roger, Ed, 3Z ways, sir, and like I say, that other antenna, that dipole antenna, was about 3 dB hotter to me, probably because it was horizontally polarized as I at the time. Anyway, threes to you, sir, and thanks for checking in. If you want to hear all that goings on, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. On that page, we're running about 1,190 some odd recorded QSOs, so you'll be looking for one in particular called my group Aircheck 71020. My group Aircheck 71020. Hopefully YouTube will put that on page 1 as they normally do. And so it will be that first page that you come to after you do our call letter search. So 3Z, and have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. And if you get a chance, join us next Friday for our QSO-VLOG net. This is KC9VKV, recording now live till 5. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Live till 5. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Whiskey 4, Whiskey Echo Golf.
Whiskey 4, Whiskey Echo Golf. Is that a Roger?
Whiskey 4, Whiskey Echo Golf. Is that a Roger?
Roger, this is Bill. I'm just north of Huntsville, Alabama. You're 5 and 9 here. I'm running ICOM 7610, and I'm on a vertical CFIR. Over.
Roger, Bill. Bill's the name, Roger.
Roger, Bill. Is it Bill's the name, Roger?
Again?
Your name is Bill. Is that a Roger?
Your name is Bill. Is that a Roger?
Roger.
All right, Bill. We have a little fattening process for that 7610 if you would be interested.
Fattening process for that 7610 if you would be interested.
You have what?
We could make your audio a little fatter if you would like, sir.
We could make your audio a little fatter if you would like, sir.
Yes, tell me.
All right, first thing is to engage your processor at a 3. Turn your compressor on and adjust it to a 3, Roger.
And adjust it to a 3, Roger.
I have an external processor I would like to turn on. It needs a little tuning with this radio. It's on now. I have the Aircheck processor.
Is that an outboard compressor?
Is that an outboard compressor?
No, you don't want to use the you don't want to use the outboard compressor, sir. That it sounds terrible. Yeah, turn that off. What you want to do is go to your internal compressor. The 7610 has a beautiful internal compressor, and you want to engage that at a 3. Engage that at a 3, Roger.
Engage that at a 3. Engage that at a 3, Roger.
I'm new to this radio. Tell me how to do it.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry?
I am new to this radio. Please tell me what to do.
Well, I will tell you to consult your book. Take notes, if you would. I'll give you some notes, and you can apply them as you go through the book and find out where things are. Roger?
Apply them as you go through the book and find out where things are. Roger?
Roger, go ahead.
All right, the first thing is to engage your compressor at a 3. Turn your processor on and adjust it to a 3. Roger, Roger?
On and adjust it to a 3. Roger, Roger?
Okay, I'm writing this down. What's next?
All right, then after you get your compressor in line at a 3, move to your ALC meter, bring up your ALC meter, and just speak into your microphone naturally and adjust your mic gain control until your ALC meter is running between mid-scale and 2/3. So bring up your ALC meter and speak naturally into the microphone like you normally would, about the same distance as always and all that, and then simply adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is running between mid-scale and 2/3. Roger?
Running between mid-scale and 2/3. Roger?
Roger. I have that written down. Anything else?
What mic are you running there, sir?
What mic are you running there, sir?
I have a high-off mic. Let's see the model.
I tell you what, instead of the model number, just give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system. Just let me hear you for about 10 seconds as you talk about your antenna system, Roger.
Let me hear you for about 10 seconds as you talk about your antenna system, Roger.
I have a FIR vertical that is in my front yard, and I guess my coax runs about 100 feet to it. I'm only TW1 amp. I'm putting out about 150 watts. I'm barely got it going.
Roger that, Roger that. I think your EQ will probably be just about right after you fatten up just a little bit there. So I would leave the EQ the way it is, and then give me a shout after you crank in the other stuff, and we'll see what we need to do about the EQ then, Roger.
And we'll see what we need to do about the EQ then, Roger.
Well, I'm going to have to run. I just heard you calling the test, and thank you for the help. I'm very electronically crippled. I was a social science major. I have no electronic background, but I did pass the test back when I had to get codes from my...
Frequencies in use. Frequencies in use.
By the time I got my extra. Frequencies in use. Moving along, but having a good time. Over.
Roger, Roger, Bill. Well, gosh, we all got to start somewhere, sir, and you have begun your trip, and I think you have the right radio to make a splendid destination. So I'll leave you with it there. And what I would suggest is that book can be somewhat, scary, because it's there's so much stuff there, but the main thing that I'm looking for, as far as you're concerned, is the transmitter parts. And so I would suggest, as you go through the book and try to find different things, I would make a note on how to get to there on your radio. You make a little cheat sheet, and then you don't have to go back to the book again very often. And so what you would want to do is how to get to your, I think your processor. I think you've got that. How to get to your mic gain control. How to bring up your ALC. How to get to your EQ. And all that stuff. And just look it up once and make little notes about how to get to there, and then you don't have to go back to the book too often, Roger.
How to get to there, and then you don't have to go back to the book too often, Roger.
Roger, I do that, but this is a new radio. Over.
Oh yes, well you have quite a learning curve there. You do, but I would start with a transmitter myself, and then after you get all those notes, then you can start looking at the receive aspects. But anyway, let me say threes to you, Bill. Thanks for checking by, and give me a shout on next Friday if you get a chance. Hopefully you will have found all those places, and you can crank in the stuff I gave you on the notes, and then we'll just have to look at your EQ and make some adjustments there, Roger.
Your EQ and make some adjustments there, Roger.
Roger. I don't hear real well. Please give me your call sign slowly.
Yes, sir. Call sign here is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. And I repeat, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Roger.
Victor Kilo Victor. Roger.
Roger, thank you. 7-3.
Roger, Bill. And if you want to hear where you are at the moment, or where you were at the moment, if you would like to go to YouTube, we are recording now live till 5. So if you want to hear what your radio sounds like at the moment, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, the call I just gave you, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. And on that page, you'll be looking for one QSO in particular. It's called My Group Aircheck 71020. The title of the QSO is My Group Aircheck 71020. Today's date, Roger?
Check 71020. Today's date, Roger. Roger.
All right, Bill, 3's to you, sir. Have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. Catch you later. It's KC9VKV, Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. KC9VKV for you.
I caught the tail end of somebody's call. Try it again, please.
Caught the tail end of somebody's call. Try it again, please. Whiskey Delta 4 United.
There was a whiskey station. Try it again, please.
There was a whiskey station. Try it again, please. Whiskey Delta 4 United. WD for you.
Whiskey Delta 4 United. Is that a Roger?
Whiskey Delta 4 United. Is that a Roger?
That's a Roger. I just wanted to tell you have a booming 59+40 here in Grayson, Kentucky.
And what part of Kentucky?
What part of Kentucky?
Grayson, Kentucky. It's in the northeast part where West Virginia and Ohio and Kentucky all come together.
Roger that. Well, we're over next door to Louisville. We're just across the Ohio River on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. Roger.
River on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. Roger.
Roger. That's where I came from back in 1987. I used to work for the railroad in Louisville, and they closed the shop, so I moved up into this area. Victor Echo, WD for you.
No, I just went over to my local antenna. I was copying you on the Milford, PA SDR. I just went to my local antenna, and you took my ears off. You must be about a 25 over on my local antenna, Roger.
Well, you're sounding great. Yeah, we're just using a Yaesu FT450D, run 100 watts into a off-center fed dipole and into a D configuration. And it's not been up too long. I built it here about 2 weeks ago, and so far we're getting some good results out of it. And what's your name over?
Name here is Jim, Juliet, India Mike, and what's the name there?
Steve, Sierra Tango Echo Victor Echo.
Yeah, Roger, Steve. And what was the radio, and what kind of power are you running there?
It's a Yaesu FT450D. And I'm running 100 watts into a off-center fed dipole in the inverted V configuration up about 35 feet. Back to you, Jim.
Roger, Steve. Well, your signal is fluctuating there, probably about 10 dB. You'll go from about a 20 over to a 5, maybe 15 dB. So it's quite a bit of fluctuation. You can probably see it in my signal to you, Roger.
Yeah, I see the same thing, Jim. It's moving back far a little bit, about 10 dB each way. Of course, you're about 40 over most of the time. Yeah, I haven't had this rig very long neither, but I've been working on it, and I think I've pretty well got the audio the way I want it to sound.
Talk to me just a minute there. Give me about 10 seconds of something you like best about your radio.
Okay. Yeah, it's a small radio. I like the features of it. Got more features than the old brain has enough knowledge to fool with, but I've been working on the audio on it, and setting the equalizer and the mic gain, and I'm running it on the equalizer as flat right now, so I don't know. You might be able to tell me how the signal sounds. Back to you, Jim.
Roger. Now you have EQ on that radio. I would punch up a couple of clicks on the top end. I would boost 2 clicks from wherever you are on your top end EQ.
Okay, Jim, I'm on the flat right now. That's on 0. That's the lowest setting on the EQ right there.
Right. Now I want you to go +2 on top and treble EQ.
Okay, that's on 2. That's up 2 right there. 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, that sounds really mid-range. You have a 3-band EQ or a 2-band EQ?
Well, I'm not for sure what you're talking about there. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge.
Roger. How many controls do you have on your EQ?
You just got one. It's all built into this thing. You go into the internal part of it. You can go clear up to, I think, 9 or 10 on it, something like that.
I'm not familiar. I mean, usually you would have a 2-band EQ or a 3-band EQ, or a parametric or something. You only have one pot for your equalization?
It's trouble, like you said, it's kind of trouble. Maybe take some lows out, add some highs and things like that. I went up to a 5 on it right there.
Roger, it sounds like it was mid-range. It wasn't the top end. In other words, some folks have a 3-band EQ. They have a bottom, a mid-range, and a top end. And it sounded like your EQ adjustment was right in the middle range, and that wasn't what I was looking for. So I would suggest just maybe go back to where you were there. I was looking for more top-end boost, Roger.
Well, that might be more top-end boost there up on 8.
Like I say, how many pots do you have? How many controls do you have in your EQ?
You just got the one adjustment there, and it shows a little graph, a low, and then that goes up to a high and drops off on the other end.
Okay, so what I'm looking for is go back to where you were, and what I'm looking for is something around the 3K, 4K area. The top end EQ is what I was looking for. I'm not sure exactly what you have there, but that's the area that I'm looking for is in the syllabic area, a little top end. That is top end up there. It's mid-range is like 1.5K, 1K right in there. I don't want that. I'm looking for higher, like 3K, 4K in that area.
WD for you. Well, I don't think this one tells all that. I mean, it might. I've read the book, and you can adjust highs and lows. But it doesn't have but just that one knob when you get to the mic equalizer.
Yes, sir. Well, all right. But let me just give you a note there. Whenever you figure it out, and if you can do, if you look a little bit closer to that EQ, I was looking for something around 3 to 4K at about 2 clicks hotter than, or 3 clicks hotter than where it is. Looking for something in the S range, the syllabic range. Roger?
Okay. Yeah, I'll just have to do some more fooling with it. I know on the ALC it's running about half, 2/3 range all the time.
Yes, sir. That's good. And you're running your compressor at about a 3?
Well, that's another thing on this thing. This thing is different from most, I guess. You get the processing in with it depending on where you set your mic gain. You got low, normal, and high on the mic gain.
So let me see if I got this right. The only mic gain control you have is low, medium, and high.
Yeah, I'm on normal right now. That's normal setting right there. I'll come back to you on the low setting. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the low setting right there, Jim.
Yeah, you definitely want to be on the mid-range, the middle range, I guess.
Okay, now this is the high end. This is high range right there, and it almost takes the ALC, depending on how loud I talk.
Yeah, you go back to normal. Yeah, normal is better. Now, from there, so what you're saying is that you just have an in and out switch for your compressor?
I had to get it out of the computer thing here. But yeah, that's all you have is you have those 3 adjustments on the mic gain, and then you have 0 to 9, I think, on the equalizer. And I mean, it does different things on the equalizer, but it shows little graphs of what each one does.
Roger. Now, on your processor compressor, does that just the switch that it's either in or out? No level adjustment for that?
On the processor, it depends on what thing. If you got it in low, it doesn't have any processing on the mic gain. If you put it in normal, it has processing all the time. But in high, on normal, it processes when it thinks you need more processing. It's processing all the time, and then maybe not. Maybe then sometimes it drops off. but in high, it's all processing.
Okay, so let me clarify again. You only have one low, normal, and high switch. You only have one low, normal, and high switch. You don't have one specifically for the mic, and the same thing for the compressor and all that. You only have one adjustment, and that is low, normal, and high. Roger?
WD for you here.
That was correct?
Correct.
Roger, Roger. Well, you know, I used to know a guy that designed radios like that myself. His name was Glenn Close Enough. Now, Glenn has a long checkered career. He actually made my coffee pot. And the thing is about my coffee pot, I don't care how slow I pour that coffee in the morning, that sucker drips all over the counter. I don't know what it is, but I cannot pour a cup of coffee without the half of it winding up on the countertop. And so I say that coffee maker was designed by Glenn Close Enough, because I can just see them in the big board meeting when they broke out this coffee maker, you know, and he pours and half of it goes on the table, and he says, well, we'll fix that in the mix. But so that is Glenn Close Enough, you know. And the thing holds true about radio design. Somebody that has the audacity to say that we're going to satisfy all your needs with three positions. You know, you don't need to have a separate amount of control for your compressor, and you don't need to have a separate control, you know, about your equalization. We're going to give you 3 switches, and that's going to take care of all of it. And I bet you that guy was Glenn Close Enough. Roger?
Everybody's been kin to each other, Jim. Yeah, I usually run a Yaesu, not a Yaesu, but a Kenwood TS530, and kind of got out for a while. Problems. I got to take the RF board out. Fix the solar dump in it. It's losing contact. And then it just drops out power. So it's got some problems. So I usually use the Kenwood TS530 when it's working.
Oh, Roger that. I'm pulling your leg there. I just, you know, I think everybody should have as many options as they need, you know, and the more options to make adjustments on your radio, the better off you are. And, you know, and for some, you know, manufacturer, designer to say, you know, we're not going to let you have those options. We're going to give you what we think you need, and that's it, you know, and that kind of is what my situation is, Roger.
Well, I understand that. Like you, if you can adjust more things, it will make everything a lot better. Now this mic does have a tone switch like this. I've never fooled with it, don't know what it does, but I'll flip it down to 1 and then come back to you.
Okay, you don't want that number 1 position. What other? Does it just have 2 positions?
It's just a hand mic that came with it. It just has 2 positions.
Yeah, I would go back to the other position. I would go back to the other position, Roger.
Right, that's what I'm at right now. If you don't keep you, there's some other people out there wanting to give you a shout. I just wanted to get in and tell you how good a signal you had, and your audio is clear as crystal. So you've got everything to me just perfect. So have a very good day. And that's probably hot in Louisville, Kentucky area, same as it is up here in this end. KC9VKV, WD4U, big fan yours.
Roger, Steve. I appreciate it, sir. And forgive me, but I do have sometimes some rants, you know, and Glenn Close Enough just irritates me. And every morning when I pour coffee, I think about him, you know, and I just wonder how he's doing now. Hopefully his career is equal to his technicality, his proficiency. Anyway, thanks for checking in, Steve. Gosh, if you want to hear what your audio sounds like, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, and on that page we're running about 1,190 recorded QSOs. You'll be looking for one in particular. It's called My Group Aircheck 71020. My group Aircheck 71020. Roger.
I'll try to do that, look it up, see either how bad I sound or how decent I sound. So have a good one, Jim. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Steve. I think amazingly, for what you have to deal with, I think you're sounding really good. And I just went over to the Milford PA SDR, and you're doing about 8 over, 10 over up in Milford. You kind of faded out on my position next to Louisville, and so I did go up to the Milford PA SDR, and you sounded really good there. Come back and talk to me just for a second or so we can get some audio off the Milford PA SDR. Roger?
Milford PA SDR, Roger.
Oh, okay there, Jim. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, your signal dropped way down too. I guess the band's getting ready to change on us. You went down to a 5.7 where you were, 5.9 plus 5.40. So the band is changing, and I guess we'll live with that, don't we?
Roger, Steve. Well, I got just a little bit there on the Milford PA, so you can hear that also. So when you go to check your audio, and give us a couple of days to get this uploaded to YouTube. It'll probably be 48 hours, and then we'll have it up there by then. So 3, Steve. Catch you later, and if you get a chance to join us next Friday for our QSO-VLOG net. This is KC9VKV. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Victor Echo 3, Papa, Charlie, Papa.
Papa, Charlie, Papa. What the heck's going on up that way?
Yeah, very good afternoon, Jim. Well, you know, it's been a hot, humid week up here. I'm sure it's the same as what you're getting down there. We had a little bit of rain this afternoon, and just wanted, I was listening along to your reading the mail there, what's your comments about the adjustments on the radios, and I agree with you to a point, but of course if you have a Kenwood, you only need one adjustment, QSO.
Okay, I'll go along with that. I mean, but I don't want my radio to just have one adjustment, Roger.
Yeah, QSO. Well, I meant as far as different frequency response for audio. I hear all kinds of people spending all kinds of time trying to get things set up properly, and my Kenwood radios, I really just have to adjust the mic gain, and that's pretty much it.
Roger. Well, you know, my philosophy is an equalization control circuit is designed to facilitate the balance between the top to the mid-range and the bottom to the mid-range. And depending on what mic you have, you may be needing more top than bottom to strike a balance between the mid-range. Now, in the newer radios, the 7300, 7610, they don't have a 3-band EQ. They only have 2-band EQ because you're trying to strike a balance to the mid-range. So, you know, the thing is, a lot of folks have a tendency to advance their mid-range, and when they do advance their mid-range EQ, it makes it so much harder for the top and the bottom to catch up for balance, you know. So, you know, ICOM said, let's just keep the mid-range, not even show an EQ for that, and just use the top and bottom to strike a balance. And I think that's just absolutely brilliant, Roger.
Yeah, QSO. Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you. Some radios need to have that, but again, I've never run into having flat audio with the Kenwoods. Right now, I'm running my Kenwood PS850, and I've got a Kenwood MC80 desk mic I'm using on it, which I believe is an electric cartridge. So, not sure how it sounds your way, but usually the reports are pretty good. Back to you.
Oh yeah, excellent audio. Nice curve. You know, again, looking at your audio on a frequency meter, and it just all is there. And your dynamic range is about 2.5 dB. I prefer about a 3, but it's it's fat and it's holding together. It doesn't sound that pushed, Roger.
Yeah, QSO. Well, I'm not overdriving it too much either. I've got the processor set at about 3, and
ALC up in the mid-range to 2/3 scale, as you recommend, and that seems to work pretty well. But I know in industry, the default is that the more adjustments you give people, the more adjustments there are not going to be adjusted properly to QSO.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Come that. What is that radio with the 10-band parametric EQ? and I'm going to do that on the fly? I don't think so. I don't think so. What is that radio? Oh, I swore I would never get into that. I just suggest they consult their book. I think that's the way I handle that. But can you imagine a 10-band parametric EQ? I mean, the average person would be lost in 10 seconds in that.
In 10 seconds in that.
Yeah, QSO. It kind of gets away from the communications quality audio, I guess, for sure. Anyway, gentlemen, I'll hold it up. I just wanted to jump in there and say good afternoon and pass along my thoughts there for what it's worth. And thanks for being there. Thanks for doing what you do. And we'll look forward to listening to your QSO-VLOG when you get it uploaded to YouTube. So 7-3 and good afternoon. KC9VKV V3PCP.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, and give him 48 hours to get this uploaded. Sounding beautiful. I think you'll love your recording as normal. I'm copying you through Milford, PA. It looked to be about 8 to 10 over. So really nice signal. Thanks for checking in. And if you get a chance to join us next Friday, 3's that way. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Give me a shout.
Now, I thought I heard somebody, Victor Bravo. Is this the Victor Bravo? Come back slowly again, please. Okay, Victor Bravo, I'm copying you on my local antenna. I'm copying you about 2 dB above my noise level. What is the name there?
Name is Tony, Tango, Oscar, November, Yankee, Roger.
Roger, tell me, what's your location?
I'm about 50 miles west of Atlanta, Georgia, Roger.
All right, let me try the Georgia SDR. Come back and talk to me for a minute. Let me hear you.
I'm running an Icon 7300, barefoot, nothing extra. Running a homebrew multi-band dipole up about 45 feet, Roger.
Roger, tell me, okay, we've got a fattening process for that radio, if you would be interested.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, and by the way, I am copying you on the Georgia SDR, your body about 10 over there. This adjustment starts with your compressor limiter. I'm sorry, your compressor processor. I'm getting another call from India or Pakistan. I don't know which it is. They alternate the scam of the week. Anyway, so where were we here? Yes, Tommy, tell me about something about your radio that you like best, and let me look at your audio.
Well, I just like the radio in general. It's got so many features on it, it's going to take me a year to figure it out. I became a general in March and got this radio as my first radio, and it just got so many features on it that it's hard to start with, Roger.
Oh, roger that. Okay. First thing I would suggest would be to engage your processor, engage your compressor processor at a 3, your compressor at about a 3. Roger, Roger.
Okay, I have set the compression to 3, Roger.
Roger. Now go to your ALC meter with mic gain in hand, and just speaking normally into your microphone, adjust your ALC meter to where it runs mid-scale to 2/3 by way of adjusting your mic gain control.
Roger, let's look at that and see what happens when I turn this down a little bit.
I'm at 35% right there. I'm about 3/4 to mid-range on the ACL.
Roger, ALC, Roger. And that sounds pretty good. Now, I have this little game that sometimes I suggest people play, and it has to do with how much control over the audio signal that you have yourself as a human in your voice. And it has to do with your output meter, looking at your output meter, and you're in sideband, so as you speak, the meter is deflected towards 100%. Well, your challenge is, as you speak and as you talk, to keep that meter up there at 100% through two things: the rate of your speech and the uniformity of the amplitude of the words that you speak. So, and that is, if, some people have a tendency to hype every third word or ununiform modulation. So what we want to do is try to keep that modulation fairly similar from word to word, so that your meter on that power output scale just stays right there at 100%. Roger?
At 100%, Roger. Roger, yep, I understand what you're saying. It's sort of a tone and the amplitude of what you speak, your words, you keep that meter at around 100%, and it looks like I'm pretty much there. It's right there. I'm staying at 100% with most of my words there, Roger.
Yes, sir. I'm looking at your audio on a VU meter also. It's the same kind of meter that you're looking at, same type, and I can see your dynamic range, and I can see how well your audio stays up. And it is a learned process that you have to over a period of time develop a knack for being able to speak. And like I say, the two things: the rate of your speech and the uniformity of the amplitude of the words that you speak. Roger?
Roger, understood. I do understand, and I will practice that. We will practice that on every time I get on here, I'll take a look at the power meter and try to keep it up around 100%.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I do that. I've had 50 years of experience in looking at VU meters almost every day, and for long periods of time, I can usually judge where the needle is going before it takes off, almost, because just of the velocity of the attack of the needle, and you look at it for so often that you know where it's going before it gets there. But that's a good little thing, and maybe it's more than just when you just start. You may not have much more to do than just to look at your modulation level. There could be maybe not too many more things more important at the time that you're speaking than actually what you're doing technically to your audio, Roger.
Roger, I understand totally. The modulation will drive how much power you're going to push out based on this is AM, so it's going to be that type of modulation, Roger.
Well, it's single sideband, so your modulation level is directly related to your amplitude of your voice to a certain point, Roger.
Roger. I totally understand. Anything we need to do on the equalizer?
Sounds pretty good. Like I say, I think you've got the main points there. That compressor in there at about a 3. That's just a token amount, but it does exactly what it wants to do. There are some folks that unfortunately do not have their compressors adjusted properly, and they're up there at a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at 10, 20, and you're hearing the cows moo in the South 40, as between the words, and you're not really interested in what happens between the words. You're more interested in what happens on the words, and that's why a 3 is just ideal from the limiter, Roger.
Roger. I do appreciate you taking the time to help me with that.
Okay, so I've been copying the Georgia PA SDR. It's been working pretty good, but it's starting to fade. So it must mean that, while you are in Georgia, you have certain. I would think that you would be hitting that SDR with ground waves, so maybe you're having just a little bit of inversion on your ground wave at the moment. But anyway, I will be uploading this recording to YouTube in the next couple of days. And so if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. And on that page, you'll be looking for one QSO in particular. It's called My Group Aircheck 71020. My Group Aircheck 71020, which is today's date. Roger?
Roger, got that. I'll wait a couple days and take a look at that and hear myself talk on the radio. Look, I really appreciate your time, and I'll let you get to somebody else. Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor from Kilo Oscar 4, Bravo Victor Bravo. We'll say 73 to you. We'll be clear on your final.
Okay, that was Kilo Oscar 4, Oscar Victor Bravo. Is that correct?
Oscar Victor Bravo, is that correct?
Negative. Kilo Oscar 4, Bravo Victor Bravo. Roger?
Bravo Victor Bravo. Roger?
Bravo Victor Bravo. Roger?
Roger. You got it.
All right, Tommy, 3Z-Ways, thanks for checking in. Sound really good. I think you'll like your recording. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. We've got about 4 minutes before I turn into a pumpkin, so if anybody wants an air check, give me a shout.
Kilo Delta 4, Alpha Kilo Mike.
The Kilo Mike station, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign.
Kilo Delta 4, Alpha Kilo Mike.
Roger, Alpha Kilo Mike, and what's your location, please?
Buford, Georgia.
Roger. Well, I'm still copying on the Georgia SDR. So, gosh, what radio are you running, sir?
Kenwood TS 570D.
570, what was the last?
D Delta.
570 Delta, Roger.
Roger.
All right, and what's the name there?
The name here is Pete. I would like to have assistance and the signal. I'm going through it. SQ200 right now at 351. Is there any distortion?
Okay, I just switched over to my local antenna. You're doing much better on my local antenna at the moment than the SDRs. So I'm seeing that your signal is fairly well unprocessed. If you would like to fatten it up, I can give you some suggestions. Roger?
Roger, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, again, we have a very generic setup, and it starts with your compressor limiter at a 3. Compressor limiter engaged at a 3. Roger?
Roger. At a 3.
Okay, and then once you get your compressor processor in there at about a 3, move to your ALC meter with a mic gain in hand and adjust your ALC to where you're reading mid-scale to 2/3 by way of controlling your mic gain. Roger?
Roger.
So you'll have to speak a little bit just naturally to adjust that mic gain looking at your ALC meter.
Okay right now, or is it too high?
All right, now I want you to tell me about your antenna system in about 10 seconds so I can hear your audio. Roger?
Roger. It's a Delta loop, about 70 feet, and it's supposed to go up to 80 meters, but it does not. But that's okay.
Roger. Georgia, can you give me your name, please?
The name is Pete. Papa Echo Tango Echo.
Hey, Roger, Pete. Tell me something about your radio that you really enjoy.
Well, I love the receive. I have a PS 2000, and it doesn't do as well. It's easier to use. It's linear on the audio and the signal, and I'm very happy with it.
Roger that. Not quite as fat as what I would have thought it would be. So you do have your compressor limiter at a 3, and I would suggest going back to your ALC and just speak naturally, normally, like you would, and adjust your mic gain to where your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3.
Roger, I'll do that.
You got the phone call, Jim.
Any other recommendations? Okay, I have my processor on right now.
Roger, Pete, I was just getting another call from Pakistan. The scam of the day, the scam of the hour, actually. It's either Pakistan or India. Gosh. Pete, so anyway, what I'm looking for is just a little bit more fatness, and it might take just a second. Tell me something that I don't know for 10 seconds.
Okay, I have it at 5. This particular radio does not have 3 on the processor. I have not touched the ALC at all.
Okay, so your processor, they couldn't afford to give you a 3, they gave you a 5?
They certainly did.
I know, these numbers are so expensive that you just can't hand out a 1 through 10. You got to make it a 1, 5, 8 or something like that, Roger?
Roger.
Yeah, we don't want them to outspend their, on their manufacturing. Them numbers are just too important. Well, I would say a 5 in lieu of. Do you have a 2?
Yes, I do.
Gosh, maybe I would try. So we don't have 3 and 4, Roger. I'm sorry, Pete. We do not have 3 or 4. We have a 2 and a 5. Is that a Roger?
I'm sorry, I got off frequency. I have a 0, 5, or 10.
Oh, that's like low, medium, and high. I guess Glenn Close Enough has been designing more radios than what I thought that he would be doing. But anyway, I guess a 5 is, try a 5 and let me hear it. It's probably too much, but put it on a 5. Put that sucker on a 5 and let it happen, Captain.
Okay, this is the 5 processor, and I have the preamp on, and I have the preamp on receive. The ALC I haven't touched yet.
Yes, sir. Okay, I'm back on Georgia SDR, sounding better there. All right, let's move on to your ALC. Find your ALC meter and just talk naturally into the microphone and adjust your mic level to where your ALC meter is running mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Scale to 2/3. Roger?
Roger, I have to get there on the menu.
You should have your mic gain, your mic gain is what you'll need to adjust, and you'll be looking at your ALC meter.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, and it's very low. And I have, I'm turning it up. Hang on a second, it's not, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm taking it up, but it's up to 71. That should not sound good.
So, what are you reading on your ALC?
ALC is about 20.
Gosh, Pete, you kind of faded down there just a little bit. So what we're looking for here is, we're looking for mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC by adjusting your mic gain control.
Adjusting your mic gain control.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it doesn't even go up to 2/3. It's only a half.
All right, let's call it close enough. It looks a whole lot better than what it did. Your dynamic range is about 3 dB now, which is what we're looking for, Roger.
Which is what we're looking for, Roger.
Roger. The amp, do you see anything wrong with the amp?
The amp sounds all right. I didn't hear any distortion. Did you have reports of distortion?
Do you have reports of distortion?
I just want to get in it as far as if it does have distortion, if I flip it.
Roger, I don't hear any distortion, but I'm only copying you maybe 3 dB above my noise level. Well, right now, Rochester, your signal's kind of bouncing around there, but it is around 3 to 4 dB wherever I go. So it's not exactly as clean as what I would like, but what I can hear, it sounds all right, Roger.
With what I can hear, it sounds all right, Roger.
Roger, put power to it, to the amp.
Okay, now talk right into your microphone there and look at your ALC and then tell me something else for about 10 seconds.
Okay, right now I'm up close to the mic and the ALC is about halfway.
It started off that you were very hot, and then all of a sudden you were down, and I'm not sure that was conditions. Again, give me something for about 10 seconds, and let me be able to hear you over a range of time.
Okay, you are DSR, so there's a little bit of
Frequencies in use, please. Frequency is in use.
I'm doing okay down here. I'm thankful that you're giving me the help.
Hi, Pete. We've got somebody now tuning up. Some poor lost soul just has to tune up on an active frequency. Oh, sir, please do not tune up on an active frequency. It's very discourteous. Anyway, Pete, I don't know. I wish I had better copy on you, Roger.
Roger, I guess the condition, but I have my mic set at 81 and the ASC is about halfway.
All right, I'll suggest that you try a little experiment there, and that is by looking at your output meter as you speak. What you want to do, this is a game that you want to play. As you look at your output meter, it's bouncing around like a VU meter. Well, what you want to do is try to keep that meter up at 100%, as close to 100% as you can, consistently, constantly. And that involves two things. It involves your rate of speech and your amplitude of your speech. So what you want to do is try to say your words consistently at the same volume and at this, and at the rate that tries to keep that meter up. So, and the other thing is that that will prevent you from maybe pulling off mic and looking elsewhere, thinking about something else. You turn your head. You want to keep your head right on your mic, and you want to look at that output meter and try to keep that volume up to 100% as much as you can. Roger?
Roger. Right now it's a little on the low side, but it might be my tuning at the end.
Roger, so you might need a little more mic gain. You're running that compressor limiter at a 5, is that a Roger?
Roger.
All right, so you might need just a little more mic gain to keep that level up. So I would turn the mic gain up. What is it on now?
Okay, I have it at 80. Mic gain at 80.
Wow, that sounds a little high, but it's not showing up as high on your audio. So maybe you might have a very soft voice, you know. And again, that's one of those things that you can work on. That looking at that output meter and try to keep it constantly up towards the 100% as much as you can by way of your speech rate and the amplitude of your speech. Roger.
Roger, I do appreciate it.
Yes, sir, Pete. Well, let me say threes to you, sir, and if you want to hear what your audio sounds like, if you go to YouTube and do a call out or search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, and on that page you'll be looking for one QSO in particular. It's called My Group Aircheck 71020. My Group Aircheck 71020, which is today's date. Roger?
Roger. How many days will it be before it's up?
Give me a couple of days, 48 hours. It'll be there within 48 hours, Roger. Usually it's a lot sooner than that, but sometimes we do get busy, Roger.
I'll give you 3 days. How about that? Thank you so much. 73 Kilo Delta 4 Alpha Kilo Mike. I'll be clear. Thank you.
Roger, Pete, glad to help out there, and gosh, if you get a chance to join us next Friday, we do the QSO-VLOG net between 3:30 and 5 every Friday, and so earlier that you can check in, sometimes the better, because it does tend to get busy later on. So threes for now, and you have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. This is KC9VKV, the QSO-VLOG net, and we want to thank everybody that participated. We've enjoyed it. Hope you have, and if you have, again, reiterating, if you want to hear your audio, we have been recording live from 3:30 till 5, so if you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, will take you to our QSO-VLOG net page, and at this point we're running about 1,190 recorded QSOs. You'll be looking for one in specific called My Group Aircheck 71020. My Group Aircheck 71020. And with that, we will be wrapping up here, and thanks so much to everybody. This is KC9VKV returning this frequency to normal amateur radio use. KC9VKV, clear.
KC9VKB, KJ4RZ.
Station calling, come back again, please.
Kilo Juliet 4, Romeo Echo Zulu, Floyd in South Carolina. Just wanted to say hello before you took off. I got in here late today.
Roger. Well, give me 10 seconds about your antenna system so you can get something on the record.
Okay. My amp's not working right now, so I'm just running 100 watts, and I'm on a 80 meter dipole, about 12 feet off the ground.
Roger. My two of my SDRs are down, so I'm using Rochester. You're about an 8 over there. Sounds like you have very good frequency response, very large range from mid-range to a top end. It sounds balanced. I don't think I would change that. The dynamic range looks to be about 3 dB, Roger.
The dynamic range looks to be about 3 dB, Roger.
Have a great weekend. You have a wonderful evening. 7 from Kilo Juliet 4, Romeo Echo Zulu. I'll try to catch you next week.
Roger, what's the name there, please?
It's Floyd, KJ4RZ. I'm in South Carolina. I usually get in here about every week with you.
Roger, Floyd. All right, sir. You have a great weekend, and join us next Friday if you get a chance. Roger. Okay, this is KC9VKV returning the frequency to normal amateur radio use. Thanks, everybody. This is KC9VKV, clear.